Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I would like to share with you a very fascinating game from 2019 Gibraltar Masters, with the white pieces playing Filipino-American chess grandmaster Wesley and his opponent is Polish chess grandmaster Daniel Sadzikowski. But before starting our game, as usual, would like to warm up your brain. Please take a look at this position, which is taken from a game played at 2019 Armenian Championship between Tigran Harutyunyan and Samvel Tersakian. With his last move, white moved his rook from c1 to c3, to which Tersakian responded with h5, and finally the game ended up in a draw. But instead of playing h5, Tersakian could have made one move and white could have resigned. Please pause the video and try to find the winning move for black. I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Back to our main game and let's see what happened on the board. Wesley opened up with e4 and Sadzikowski responded with Sicilian defense c5, knight f3, c6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, and e5. Black goes for Sveshnikov variation. Here comes knight b5, d6, and knight d5, a move which is becoming very popular nowadays. This move was also Fabiano Caruana's favorite choice against Magnus Carlsen. Knight takes d5 was played, e takes d5, knight b8, a4, bishop e7, bishop e2. We have castling by both sides, knight d7, bishop d2, and f5. Black is starting an advancement on the king's side, and a5. This position was also seen in Carlsen-Caruana World Championship match. In round 8, Carlsen played a6, and after knight a3, e4, knight c4, knight d5. Finally, on move 38, the game ended up in a draw. But in our game after a5, Sadzikowski responded with f4. Here comes rook e1, knight f6, bishop d3, and a strange decision by Polish chess grandmaster f3. Black is sacrificing a pawn, but later we will see that Black is getting no compensation. Instead of playing f3, it was better to play bishop g4, and if f3, then once Black is managing to create weakness on white's king side, can move back his bishop on d7 and then can go for g5, g4 attacking moves. This interesting attacking line was mentioned by Wesley after the game during the interview, but in our game after bishop d3 we have f3, and Wesley simply won the pawn on f3. Knight g4 was played. By sacrificing a pawn, Black managed to open up the f file, is starting to put pressure down the f file, but now comes queen e4, and in return white is targeting the pawn on h7. Bishop f5 was played, and instead of going for a passive looking queen e2 move, in this case the players are getting equal chances. In here Black can either capture on f2 straight away, or can first create a weakness on white's king side and then go for knight takes f2, and if queen e2 then knight h3 check. In here Black can either give a perpetual check or can go for rook f2, but even in this case Black is not managing to gain advantage. In the end of the day, again, the players have equal chances. Yes, and finally, Black can start giving perpetual check. But in our game after bishop f5, instead of queen e2, Wesley made a very important decision and he went for a queen sacrifice. Look at this beautiful move. Rook takes f5 was played and bishop takes f5. Against the queen, white got a bishop, a rook, and a pawn. Let's see what's going to happen next. a6 was played, which is a dubious decision and allows white to open up the center, after which white bishops are becoming very scary. Instead of a6, it was better simply to move back the knight on f6, but in our game we have a6, and there it goes. Knight takes d6 is on the board. White is breaking into pieces. black's central pawns. Bishop takes g4 was played, queen takes d5, bishop c3. White is starting to target the isolated pawn on e5. Bishop f6, we have bishop f3, and now this time the light squared bishop on this long diagonal is starting to create problems. Queen b5 was played, rook e4, rook d8, g3. White is first opening up a luft for his king, and after queen c5 we have rook a4. Although by going for a queen sacrifice, white managed to gain only a slight advantage, but now white pieces are starting to cooperate together very successfully, and black is starting to face serious problems. The rook is penetrating the 8th rank, and then we have rook ec4, e4, and there it goes. White bishop is munching the first pawn. Bishop takes c3, rook takes c3, g6, and another pawn drops. Yes, guys, the way white pieces are cooperating together is simply amazing. King g2, after which we have the exchange of rooks on c8. King g7, c3. Yes, black queen can't even give some checks, and white king is in safety. Meanwhile, while black queen is making random moves, white pawns are marching towards the 7th rank. Rook c7 check was played, king h6, h4, g5, and now we have bishop f3, queen b5, and believe it or not, but after rook c5, finally we have a resignation. Now if queen d3, then h takes g5 check is coming, and then b5. This is one of the possible lines which I would like to share with you. If queen d7, then rook c6 check is coming, and you can't even win this pawn because in this case your king can find himself in a mating net. Bishop e4 can come. Yes, black's position is totally lost. And then g4 is coming. You should give away your queen. That's why on move 40 after rook c5 we have a resignation. A very beautiful game by Wesley. So yes, I have to mention again that although after sacrificing the queen, white only got a slight advantage, but gradually intensified the pressure, and black, who failed to develop any strategical ideas, soon found himself in trouble. Thanks for watching. If you liked this game, give the thumbs up. For more games, consider subscribing to my channel. Also, press the bell button to get notified about new uploads. I will see you in my next video.